You are listening to the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast, where you discover management insights and strategies for your successful dental practice. There are also interviews with key people in the industry who have advice and services to help you and your team achieve great success. Welcome to this week's episode of the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast. And the topic we're talking about today is values. And in particular, I'm talking about the values that we identify as a dental practice. As you know, we've got so many things to identify as a small business. It could be our mission statement and our purpose. Our values is one of them as well. Our vision, there's so many different things, our culture. But values does hold dear. I do hold values dear to my heart because I think they can really have quite a large impact on your success as a dental practice for various different ways. So let's have a look at what I mean by practice values. Many businesses out there, they absolutely have their stated values. Quite often they're singular words such as we act with integrity, boldness, we are honest, trustworthy, accountability, commitment to customers, passionate, fun, diversity, we're innovative, or even simplicity. So quite often they are singular words, and some examples of some specific companies out there that you'll know what they've got listed as their values. That can sometimes be a great way of identifying, well, what specifically does it mean for my organisation if I want to set up my own values? So American Express have 8 stated values. One of them is customer commitment. We develop relationships that make a positive difference in our customers' lives. A second one is quality. We provide outstanding products and unsurpassed service that together deliver premium value to our customers. Their third value is integrity. We uphold the highest standards of integrity in all of our actions. The fourth value is teamwork. We work together across boundaries to meet the needs of our customers and to help our company win. Their next value is respect for people. We value our people, encourage their development, and reward their performance. Another one is good citizenship. We are good citizens in the community in which we live and work. Their seventh value of their 8 values is a will to win. We exhibit a strong will to win in the marketplace and in every aspect of our business. And their final 8th value is personal accountability. We are personally accountable for delivering on our commitments. So that's American Express's values statement. How about Google? Google have 10 stated values. Number 1, focus on the user and all else will follow. Value number 2, it's best to do one thing really, really well. Number 3, fast is better than slow. Number 4, democracy on the web works. Number 5, you don't need to be at your desk to need an answer. Number 6, you can make money without doing evil. Number 7, there's always more information out there. Number 8, the need for information crosses all borders. Number 9, you can be serious without a suit. Number 10, great just isn't good enough. So there's a couple of examples of what companies have done when they have identified what their corporate values are. For us, it's going to be our dental practice or our practice values are. If you are intrigued about brainstorming this sort of topic with your team members, just Google search corporate values and you'll get a whole host of them. Some of them could be more personal values such as excellence, problem solving, integrity, humility, determination. Maybe they're more interactional values for your team members. So it's accountability, communication, trust and teamwork. They could be more focused on the business itself. So growth, innovation, entrepreneurship, goal-oriented, quality. They could be patient or customer-centric values, customer focus, service excellence, customer first. Or they could be more external values, and we certainly see this quite commonly nowadays: sustainability, community, environment, social responsibility. And so the series of values that you identify for your organisation, there are so many to choose from. We want to make them meaningful though. We want to make the values meaningful to our organisations, and the reasons why is your stated values can help you attract fabulous team members that are going to fit in with your organisation. For example, if one of your stated values as a dental practice is patient education, maybe that's what you've got your hook into, that you make sure that one of the reasons why patients should come to you is when they want to be truly educated about their oral conditions and the solutions around those oral conditions to address the ramifications of those oral conditions. Then when you're recruiting people, you want to have people who have been very experienced in the dental world. They're also outgoing in personality, where they like to share that information and education with patients. How about if really strong teamwork is one of your practice values? Then when you're recruiting, you are looking for, your ad will start to state elements of the attributes of a great team member. So they're caring and respectful and they're great communicators, for example. And so when you do identify what your values are, you need to really live these values out when you're recruiting new team members, because only then are you attracting like-minded people who can really help foster those values. And so as a business then, out to the outside world, you're rolling your values out. You're making your values appear real, because they are real, because you've got a whole bunch of people who back those values within your organization. And so it will certainly help you attract like-minded people. So when they come on board as part of your team, there's no resistance there. They come on board because they love your values, because they share them as well, and they are then incorporated as part of your team very easily, and in fact make your values even stronger. Another reason why identifying your corporate values thoughtfully is because they can set you apart from your competitors. We're all out there doing dentistry. We're all out there appealing to the same patients in our general communities. So we need to have a point of difference, and quite often that point of difference could be, for example, an environmental value, that we're into sustainability and environmental issues, and that will really tap into the values of customers, patients out there that share that value. And they've got all the 10 dentists around them where they could choose to spend their dental dollars, but they are environmentally minded and they would prefer at any point in time to deal with a company that has that value as well. And so your values could really set you apart from your rest of your competitors. If patient education was one of your values, again, that's setting you apart from your competitors. You become known because of the way you roll out education evenings at your practice, go to the local schools and educate the kinder kids and the preschoolers, that you become known as the practice that educates patients in the area. Living to your stated values also can help create a very secure work environment. And so as you are fostering with your existing team the values such as accountability and respect and communication, and you're appealing to new team members, potentially new team members out there who may share those same values, they then come on board and see evidence of it straight away. It happens quite routinely where either the applicant or the employer has stated what's important to them and painted a certain picture of what it's like to be working in that environment, or what it's like to employ me as an employee. Yet in reality, there is a breakaway from that, and there is no evidence for it. For example, the practice, there is no evidence. This is a truly family-oriented team which really care for each other. What I'm seeing is quite different to that. So if someone's ringing up and they can't come into work because their child is sick, they're actually getting quite a bit of resistance rather than this family feeling that you indicated to me within the interview process. And also likewise, if it's the applicant that has said, I'm a very trustworthy person, I'm a very reliable person, yet in reality, they're turning up to work 10 minutes late within their first week of employment. You're like, there is a break there. They're not actually living to their values that they stated. And so when you, as a dental practice, you state these very clear values, and then you're appealing to potential new team members to these values, then you actually have those values fostered within your organisation. That new team member comes on board and that trust is being built from word go, because you are living the values that you state. Another reason why I think identifying your values as a dental organisation is because it's a foundational guide that helps you set and establish systems within your practice. Again, for example, if you had a practice that you said you were very family-friendly, family-oriented, and when you are identifying the system that you're going to use for your new patient examinations for little children, and it's very adult, it's very business, and there's no fun element to it, that's inconsistent with the values that you've stated. However, if you are stating that you are a family-oriented practice and you love the kids coming through and you want to really make sure that the children get a fantastic start to their dental journey, then you make sure that the system that you've got for welcoming those new little patients into your practice is fun, is in line with your values. And so therefore they get a little show bag. The appointment time itself is nice and patient, and they're taking them on a little journey and showing them the triplex and the suction, all the rest of it. So making the experience in line with the values of the practice. And there is a knock-on effect. When you think about different challenges that dental practices come up against, such as managing people who don't pay their bills on time, managing broken appointment times, managing it when patients turn up late, you'll have a particular system in place, and it is absolutely ideal to have all of those systems run through your values statement to make sure that yes, indeed, we are modifying our statements and implementing those that actually do foster the values that we have stated for this organisation. So values are important. I talk about that to clients quite a bit. And when I had my practice, so this was going back to 2003, I didn't have a stated series of values. I had a couple of thoughts in my mind. One of them was that I really wanted any team member who had worked for me to have been better off for the experience rather than worse off. So I wanted to make sure the environment was nice and supportive and encouraging, and that it was a space where they could grow. And I also had a strong value of autonomy. I had been micromanaged in the past, and I'd actually been a micromanager in the past as well. And it was a very strong lesson for me that I made sure that I personally had a value of autonomy within my organisation that I was creating. That team members would be supported with training and role plays and different ideas on how to do things, yet they were also given that full autonomy to roll out systems the way they wanted to roll them out, and that they weren't going to be over-controlled and scrutinised throughout their working days. But they were more values that I had within myself, but I never actually had dental practice stated values for my organisation. If I was to have my own dental practice today, I absolutely would have stated values because I see the value of them. I see the value of the values. And so I've got 4 identified values that I encourage dental practices is if you haven't got them yet, start with these 4 and then tweak them around, chuck them out, replace them with other things as you go on your journey and you start to identify what your personal values are. The 4 values, and I'm going to go into each one of them in a little bit of detail. The 4 values are professionalism, honesty, growth, and caring. So let's go through these one at a time so you can really get a sense of where I'm thinking these values have a place in dental practices. So professionalism being the first value, what is professionalism? And it quite possibly could be a little bit different for each person. Certainly it could be quite different for each generation, because with each generation there are subtle changes in expectations around behaviour and what's deemed as professional and not professional. And so I think we do need to then break it down and say, as an organisation, as a dental practice, this is what professionalism means to us. And there are a number of points here, so I'll take you through each one. And we would never expect everyone to remember all these. These could be in a framed value statement behind glass in your staff room, for example, or even in your waiting room. There's nothing wrong with having your patients know what your wonderful values are. So personally, this is my bent on what professionalism is, and it starts off with attitude. That when I picture a highly professional dental team member in my head, they've got a great attitude. They're optimistic and they bring an upbeat energy to work. They aren't in the doldrums and going, oh my God, it's a Monday morning again, and they're dragging other energies down around them. No, they've got a positive, upbeat attitude about themselves. So attitude is important. The other thing that comes to my mind when I am picturing that great professional dental team member, and you can use people in your past that you've worked with to help you identify what you deem as professional, is their appearance. They're always well groomed. Their hair is appropriately styled or put up. Their hands are always well manicured. If they're men, they're always clean shaven every day, or they've got a proper trimmed beard or mustache. If they have makeup, again, it's appropriate for a healthcare setting. If they've got tattoos, they've covered them up, and they've removed any kind of unconventional piercings such as nose rings or tongue studs. And their uniform is neat and clean, ironed. So when I think of appearance of a professional dental team member, that's what I've got in my mind. Another element of professionalism is that these people tend to be very effective communicators. They are well spoken and they are easily understood. And when people are talking to them, whether they be patients, team members, or bosses and managers, they are listening with the intention to understand that person as well. So one of the elements of professionalism is to be an effective communicator. Another thought that comes to my mind when I think of somebody who's highly professional is that they are competent. They've got a high level of competency. They possess the skills that are required to competently execute the responsibilities of their role. And I reckon that one's a bit of a given. These people are also pretty respectful. So they show consideration and regard to their superiors, their team members and colleagues, their patients, and any stakeholder that comes into the business. It could be the cleaner, the gardener, the courier, the lab tech. Whoever comes in, they are dealt with great respect. A highly professional team member is also ethical. So they are acting in accordance with and defending what is morally right. So they stand up for people if they feel like they're being unjustly treated in their absence. They presume the best of the people around them rather than jumping to negative assumptions. They are moral and ethical. Also reliable. Professional people are reliable. When I say I'm going to be there, I'm there. When I told you I'll get that document printed off by this afternoon, I'll make sure I get it done. So turning up to work on time, completing the tasks that you have said that you'll complete efficiently and timely, you do that as well. And you respond to the requests of other people promptly. If someone asks you to do something, you do it in a timely fashion. You don't delay and procrastinate. And so that's another element of being professional, that you are reliable. You're also accountable. So be willing to put your hand up if you're proven to be wrong, or proven to forget something, or proven that you made a mistake. You put your hand up. That was me. That was my fault. Or, yes, I know I said I was going to get this thing to you by this afternoon, but I'm not going to be able to. Is tomorrow morning okay? Things have become really hectic here at the front desk, for example. So you are willing to answer for your own actions and take responsibility for your own actions. The last element of professionalism that I've identified when I picture this highly professional person in my mind is that they are composed. So they're not over emotional, they're not overly dramatic. When a difficult situation crops up, they're not adding to the chaos of it. They are composed and controlled and bringing order out of the chaos. So you can imagine when you have identified professionalism and the elements that makes up professionalism, how it will start to control how you advertise for new team members and what you're looking for in these new team members and which one of the applicants will actually get through to an interview. They're the ones that are responding to details within your advert that provide evidence of this. Yes, that's me. I am professional in the way they see professionalism. That is me all over. I love being that way, and I love working with other people who are that way. This team is for me. So that is my first value of professionalism. My second value is honesty. And when you think back over your life, one of the very first lessons that our parents ever tried to instill in us was honesty. And in my mind, there is a very good reason why. Because it is my view that honesty is the most important characteristic that we develop as human beings. And I'm going to tell you why. What is honesty? And I've got 5 points to share with you with what honesty is all about. And maybe that will help you understand why I think it's the most important characteristic that we can develop as human beings. Honesty is speaking the truth. Speaking the truth. You're not exaggerating things. You're not embellishing. You are speaking with accuracy. You're speaking the truth. You're certainly not gossiping. And you're not condoning gossiping. You're not adding to it. You are speaking the truth. You are also acting with integrity. And what is acting with integrity? It could mean a whole range of things. But in the workplace, I think of acting with integrity that you are acting and behaving in such a way whether other people are watching you or not. You're not trying to get away with anything. You're not trying to just look busy, just look honest, just look respectful in front of other people. It's just who you are. That you are acting in integrity to your quality characteristics that you put out there to the world. Honesty is also taking responsibility. This is so enormous, because when we're talking about people who take responsibility of their life, actually when we're talking about people who don't take responsibility over their life. So things happen to me, that person made me upset, I wouldn't have done that bad thing if that other person hadn't done this other bad thing. What they're doing in essence is not being truly honest with themselves. They're not coming from a space of honesty. They're coming from a space of trying to evade responsibility. They're coming from a place where they're not being upfront with themselves and true to themselves. So taking responsibility is, even though it makes us feel uncomfortable, even though there is a way out if we wanted to find the way out, that we are going to take on that responsibility anyway, because it's the right thing to do, because it's the honest thing to do. So people who are honest, truly honest, they do take responsibility for their own actions, their own words, their own intentions, the space they create for themselves. They're not blaming other people. They're not blaming other situations. They're not looking for a way out. It's just me. And I'm willing to stand up and take responsibility for that. Another element of honesty is that you accept accountability. And we spoke about accountability in professionalism. So you accept the role you play in every scenario, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. You accept the space that you held with that. You are accountable for your contribution to that. How many times have we heard, it was all that person's fault? None of it was my fault. I was part of the interaction, but none of it was my fault. People who are truly honest, they're accountable for the space they held. Yes, they look at, what did I do to help create this negative result of this interaction? What stain did I put on it? What environment did I contribute in creating that resulted in this negative situation that we've got right now? So they accept accountability. And of course, something that is meaningful for every organisation, where you're dealing with patients and you're dealing with money and you're dealing with people's private information, such as their dental history and their medications, and you're also dealing with other team members as well, where you possibly got information about them or access to their possessions. Honest people are not deceptive or fraudulent. There are so many people that I've worked with in the past that if somebody had come up to me and said they stole $100 out of the till, I'd go, no way, no way. That is an honest person. Honest people don't steal. Honest people are not deceptive, and honest people are not fraudulent. And so again, when you are thinking about who am I going to hire as my next employee coming into this team, with honesty as one of your values, that's going to help direct the kind of ad that you write and the kind of people that you are going to be interviewing and the kind of questions that you ask within the interview, the kind of questions you ask for their personal references when you check their references, the kind of conversations you have there as well. Displaying honesty as team members within our dental practices is how we build trust in each other and with our patients. And that value of honesty, when you are appealing to that value amongst your team members and new team members coming on board, recognize how honesty or dishonesty can drive behavior. And that then becomes part of your culture. And that becomes part of the reputation of what your practice is. So the value of honesty, I believe, is a very strong one. But it does need to come from the top down as well. You can't have a stated value of honesty within your dental organisation if the leaders themselves, the owners of the practice managers, etc., aren't displaying evidence of that honesty. Sometimes there's an acceptable dishonesty or little white lies that can easily creep into an organisation. However, when you've got the honesty as one of your stated values, it does require a full commitment from the top down. It is not easy sometimes, and sometimes you feel like there's quite a grey area. But if you hold true to that value of honesty, it will only reap benefits for you and your organisation. So as leaders of an organisation that has adopted the value of honesty, do lead by example. Absolutely highlight and reward team members who demonstrate great honesty as well, and commit to only recruiting new people who also value honesty as well. And when you say to somebody, "Are you honest?" They'll go, "Yes, sure." But this is where you can look at the resume and then call up the references that I've got stated there and ask them what their perception of the honesty of this person was. So value number 1 is professionalism, value number 2 is honesty, and value number 3 is growth. This is massive for me. Anyone that's worked with me knows that I have got the value of constant and never-ending improvement as one of my core drivers as a human being. It is also a driver of all of us. Our 3 main drivers in Daniel Pink's book called Drive is autonomy, purpose, and mastery. So autonomy, that's one of our drivers. We want to be in control of our own actions. Purpose, we want to be striving towards goals and a space that is larger than us, bigger than us. We want to go for it. Purpose is a big driver, but also mastery. We like to get really good at what we do. We want to feel completely competent in the skills that we develop. And when we are within dental practice situations and we are having that desire, and we have that desire to achieve top performances from all of our team members, that we as a dental practice just get better and better and better. You can't get better at all unless each individual team member on that team also gets better. That's where better comes from. Better comes from better actions. Better actions come from the actual people involved in your organisation. And so our whole journey of improvement as a dental practice must come back down to what do we do as a team to improve, as individuals of that team to improve. And what do you need? And as I've said many times to the teams that I work with, what do we need to do if we do indeed want that journey of constant and never-ending improvement? There are a few things at play there that actually work against us subconsciously. We're not quite aware of it. But when we embrace all of these elements that ensure growth and development, then we can really live the value of growth within our dental practices. So in order to improve, what do we need? Number 1, we need to embrace the mistakes that we will make on our journey of improvement. There is nothing we get good at without making mistakes. That's what learning is. Learning is making mistakes, modifying our behaviour, and getting better results. So we must, as individuals, for our own self, I accept mistakes within myself because that's part of growth and development, but also as an organisation. We embrace the mistakes that all of our team members make when it's in the pursuit of growth. So we must be open to making mistakes. We must also be open to something else that a lot of dental practices struggle with, providing team members with the time to practice and repeat and modify new skills until they become masters of those new skills. That's what mastery is, doing it so often that you've gone through so much improvement that now you're a master at it. We also need to become comfortable with feedback, because again, if I'm on a journey of improvement, then I've already identified the areas that I need to improve in. If I'm still wanting to improve, I need to find out what the hidden areas of potential improvement could be. And they're the ones I don't know about. Other people know about it, so am I going to open myself and embrace that feedback? Those wonderful contributions of, you could try improving your rapport building skills in this way. You could try improving how you take accountability for actions in the future like this. You need to be open to the feedback. So we need to shift our meaning that we've got attached to getting feedback. Feedback is not criticism. Feedback is an opportunity for growth that we need to say thank you for. And the other element to committing to a growth mindset, to a growth value, is we need to become comfortable with feelings of incompetency, because when we don't know how to do the new thing yet, then we are incompetent at that thing. If we make incompetency mean that we're not good enough, that learning is hard, it's too difficult, I should just settle with what I know how to do, then you're not going to grow. Temporary feelings of incompetency until you practice and repeat enough, or learn more, or do more training until you get good at the thing, is part of learning as well. And so when we do embrace the value of growth within our organizations, it will be meaningless unless you discuss as a team and develop team agreements around mistakes, feedback, feelings of incompetency, and the need for practice and repetition in order to action this value of growth. I've seen it happen where practices can absolutely transform how they feel about those 4 elements of growth and really start to foster this wonderful and most powerful value. And it's extraordinary. Team members go from feeling wildly uncomfortable with so many elements of this to wanting to embrace and asking each other, can you give me feedback in this area? I want to be as good as you in that space. Tell me how to do it. Or I dealt with this particular patient who was complaining and I know it didn't go well. This is what I said. What feedback have you got for me around that? Leaders of an organisation, of a dental practice, saying to their team members, where can I improve as a leader? How can I create a better environment for you? It's extraordinary. It's so extraordinary. I can't tell. We'll talk more about it. It's just part of my blood now. So the values of professionalism, honesty, and growth. We've got one more to go, and that is caring. Why would I have caring as one of the 4 core values that I think every dental practice should have? If it was my world. There are so many wonderful values out there. I certainly wouldn't force you to take on these 4, because another 4 could be just as powerful. However, caring is a big one that really appeals to team members and is very conducive to a harmonious team environment. A team that truly cares for one another, they want to have a positive impact on each other, and they are very happy when each other deliver a great performance or have great success. They want to help each other when they're having trouble moving through their responsibilities for the day, or they've had something troubling happen. They truly want to help that person move through that negative experience. So really cultivating this value of caring within your team, again, just think about how it impacts how you employ people and what characteristics that you're looking for so they fit in nicely into your team and help foster this value as well. It can be extraordinary, but caring can really be identified with a series of actual behaviours. For example, team members that truly care for each other, they focus on the strengths of each other, not the weaknesses. They celebrate each other's wins and successes. They're a cheerleader for each other. They put people first. Before the practice, they put the people first. They absolutely show appreciation. If you've done something nice for me, I'm going to tell you all about it. Thank you so much for doing that thing for me. They're going to bring it up at a team meeting. I was running terribly late. My car broke down. The cat got sick. and the vet was closed. And then Sonia stepped in and saved my day. She is so awesome. They show appreciation. Caring team members build strong relationships with each other. If you are a dental practice in the hiring process, be very diligent with that hiring process that you are tapping into those kind of caring individuals that exhibit this kind of behaviour, that are turned on by this value. They think, yes, that's the kind of team I want to be a part of, one that truly cares about each other. But caring doesn't just come naturally. It is something that we need to do intentionally and fight for if it's being challenged in any way. So if we are part of a team and that we have adopted caring as one of our values, the very next time there is uncaring behaviour of one team member over another, that we give each other the permission, we have the team agreement that you'll be called to account for that. I heard of a situation where in the morning huddle, one team member who had to call in sick that day was spoken about poorly by other team members in the morning huddle. And how wonderful would it be if in this caring organisation, it was okay, you knew it was okay as a team member to stand up and say, hey, let's bring it back to a caring space again. We don't speak about each other that way here. That's not what we do. You're always going to have slip-ups. No one's going to ever be perfect, and that's okay. We strive to be perfect all the time, knowing that we're going to get there 80% of the time. 20% is life, humanness. 20% is when we're a bit too tired, we're cranky, we've had a bad night's sleep, we've had something terrible happen at home. However, we've got to have the intention that we do better next time, I think it was 2020 that Richmond won the grand final. And I love reading about, sporting teams that achieved great success and what brought them to that great success. And when I was reading about the Richmond Football Club's win, the grand final win, what the team players said commonly in these interviews was caring amongst the players for each other was a crucial factor to them winning the grand final. A football team, caring, that was the big thing that they were all striving towards. Amazing. So when you've got team members that truly care for each other, you think of the daily operations, you think about the feeling you have when you turn up to work every day. You think about the level and extension of performance that can be achieved when people are not just working for themselves to get their weekly paycheck, just to get their responsibilities done, but they're working as a true team, helping each other go through all of the ups and downs of the usual day in a dental practice. So I hope I have effectively communicated why I think caring is such a powerful value as well, along with the other values. So professionalism, honesty, growth, and caring. I encourage you to imagine the knock-on effects if your dental practice identified a core set of values that you were so passionate about living that you can start to see how it impacts your current team, your future team members, the way you manage patients, the systems that you put in place, the reputation you end up having in the community. Values. They're quite valuable. I look forward to speaking with you next time. Have a good day. Hey, if you enjoyed listening to this episode, you should join the club. The club members receive an online lunch and learn twice a month where I share insights, systems and strategies to improve the success of your practice. These lunch and learns could not be easier to train your dental team. They are recordings so you can watch them at a time that suits you. For example, during team lunchtimes, pay your team members for their lunch hour. The first half hour, they're eating and watching the presentation. The second half hour, they're discussing how to implement this particular insight into your dental practice operations. And remember my favourite quote, it's by Archilochus, and he states, "We do not rise to the level of our expectations, but fall to the level of our training." So join the club now and start upskilling your team members and improving the operations of your dental practice. I hope to see you there.